You finish a chess tournament as one of 4 players tied for first. Well done! But will you finish first, second, third or fourth? You will not know until board 16, halfway down the hole, players with no chance of winning finishes their game. What is going on? This is the tiebreak problem. In the next 10 minutes, I'm explaining how chess solves it. Playoff, head-to-head, Buchholz, Sonneborn-Berger. In my experience, only around a third of Swiss tournaments end with a clear winner by points alone. Most end in a tie at the top. The reason is simple. Most tournaments run between 5 and 9 rounds. That is simply not enough games to separate players cleanly from top to bottom. So what does the table look like in the end? 2, 3, sometimes 5 players tied for first. In the middle of the standings, 10 to 20 players sharing the same score is entirely normal. Ties are not the exception in chess, they are the rule, which is why chess needed a system for solving them. Chess has 2 fundamentally different approaches to separating tied players. Which one applies depends on the level of the event. The first is playoffs. Additional games are played after the tournament ends. Think World Championship, candidates, national championships. A game result is unambiguous. No formula, no paradox, no dispute. The second is tiebreak formulas, mathematical systems applied to the results already on the scoreboard. No extra games, no extra time. The answer comes from the data. This is what decides most tournaments you and I will ever enter. When are playoffs in chess actually used? At the top level, World Championship, the candidates, national championships, elite invitationals with big prize money, events where a disputed result is simply not acceptable. In 2022, FIDE made it official. First place at top-level events is now decided by playoff games, not tiebreak formulas. Formulas still decide second place and below, but the winner is decided at the board. The playoff games are rapid or blitz, shorter time controls to produce a decisive result quickly, not a full classical game, fast enough to finish the same evening. At amateur levels, playoffs are rare. Most club and open tournaments use formula-based tiebreaks for practical reasons: time, logistics, the number of players involved. That is exactly what the next part covers. If rapid games produce no winner and blitz games produce no winner, chess has one final answer: Armageddon. A single game after which one side wins the match. No further tie breaks. One game. Done. Here is how it works. White receives more time, typically 5 minutes to black's 4. But white must win outright. A draw counts as a black victory. Colors are decided by a draw of lots before the game begins. Now here's the part that surprises most people. Despite having less time, experienced players often prefer to play black, because a draw is enough. White carries the full burden of proving an advantage. Black only needs to survive. One game, one result, the most dramatic single format in chess. The simplest formula, tiebreak. If tied players have all faced each other during the tournament, whoever won more points in those games ranks higher. It is easiest to understand with 2 players. Same score as the end, they played each other in round 4, 1-1. That player ranks higher. Done. With 3 or more tied players, it gets more complicated. All of them must have played each other for this to apply at all. And it falls completely when the results form a cycle. Player A beat player B beat player C beat player A. Everyone beats someone. Nobody ranks higher. Clean and intuitive when it works. Universally understood. But it cannot be the sole system in open Swiss events. Too many situations where it simply cannot give the answer. The next tiebreak approach ignores draws entirely. Count only the outright wins. 2 players finish on 5 points after 7 rounds. Player A, 4 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. Player B, 3 wins, 4 draws, no losses. Same score. Number of wins puts player A ahead. It rewards aggressive, decisive play. It discourages sitting on draws in the final rounds when you only need half a point. The problem: it ignores who you played. 2 draws against the top players in the tournament, 2 of the hardest games in the event, count for nothing here. 2 wins against the bottom half count fully. Opponent strength is invisible to this system. The most common chess tiebreak you will hear about is Buchholz, developed by German chess organizer Bruno Buchholz in 1932 and still running most tournaments in the world today. The idea is straightforward. Your Buchholz score is the sum of all your opponent's final scores in the tournament. Not your score, theirs. Why does that even matter? Because if you and I finish on the same points but you faced stronger opponents to get there, your result is more impressive. Buchholz rewards playing well in a hard section of the draw, not just accumulating points against the bottom half of the table. The most widely used variant in practice is median Buchholz. If the name sounds statistically wrong, it is. A median in statistics is simply the middle value, not a sum of anything. What this system actually does is remove the outliers at both ends and add up what remains. FIDE called it median because it keeps the middle values. The name stuck. The logic is simple. One unlucky early pairing against a player who drops out and one unlucky pairing against the strongest player in the field should not decide your tiebreak. Removing both ends balances that. The second variant is Buchholz Cut 1, FIDE's recommended primary tiebreak. Simpler than median, it removes only the single lowest opponent score. The problem it solves: a weak opponent, often the one from round 1, should not drag your tiebreak total down through no fault of your own. Buchholz treats all your opponent's scores equally. Sonneborn-Berger does not. Every opponent you beat, their full final score counts towards your tiebreak. Every opponent you drew, half their final score counts. Every opponent who beat you, nothing, 0. It is the primary tiebreak in round-robin events. It makes sense when all play all. In Swiss events, it gets uncomfortable. You fight your way to the top boards. You lose a critical game against the leader. The leader's score contributes nothing to your total. 0 credit for the hardest game you played. Meanwhile, the player who won comfortably against weaker opposition collects solid Sonneborn-Berger points throughout. Which is why in Swiss events, Buchholz is usually the one doing the job. There are currently 28 different tiebreak systems supported in tournament management software. Each one was created to solve a specific problem with an existing system. Each one introduced its own edge cases and paradoxes. The chess world kept adding solutions without ever agreeing on one. Different organizers use different defaults. Different tournament types recommend different systems. Tournament directors choose from the menu when setting up an event. Players often do not know which system applies until they read the regulations. So what does all of this mean for you sitting down at a club or open tournament? Buchholz will decide almost every tied result you encounter. Occasionally, Sonneborn-Berger appears as a secondary system. The others are rare at that level. The most important practical point: score still matters more than tiebreak. Winning that last round always counts more than not. A tiebreak only comes into play when the score is already equal, so the first job is always to score. Understanding tiebreaks does help you read a live standings table. If you're near the top with 1 round to go, knowing how Buchholz works tells you whether a draw is reasonably safe. But be mindful, a lot can change in 1 round. You now know how tournaments are structured and how tied results are separated. The next question is practical. What actually happens when you walk into a tournament for the first time? The gear, the pairings board, the clock, the etiquette, the things online chess never taught you. That is the next video, your first chess tournament. I'll see you there.